We are starting a few minutes late. I apologize, but we have a superstar with me today and a very dear friend of mine, Tanya Brown. We are live here with you.
Oh, I'm so glad we made this happen.
Yes. We've been talking about this for way too long. When was the last time we did this?
My goodness, I think it was the inception of your in Studio City. So how long ago was that? 3-4 years?
It's been a couple years now. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Well, we are back. We're live. We're reunited. It feels so good. What am I singing now?
We're not even reunited.
And it feels so good. I think we had to open up with a little bit of singing, right? Oh, I missed you, girl.
I miss you too.
You've been doing so amazing. You look great as this. I love this blondie blonde here.
Blonde in a box.
Yeah, well, black in a box, right? Whatever you got to do.
$7.99.
I love it.
Sponsors.
Right? You're like, yeah, what's the companies? We're like, we want sponsors.
Exactly.
So you've been busy. You wrote another book.
Yes, I did. Here we are. So majority of your listeners and viewers, I believe, I don't even know, was this even published?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So this was published.
I have my copy.
Finding Peace Amid the Chaos, My Escape from Depression and Suicide. So, Traci, this is like my story. Viewers, this is my story. Tell all in here, the trials, tribulations, even going through my sister's murder, going through her, the condo from, I mean, Traci, I really get really blunt. I saw, Ron's bloody fingerprints on my sister's gate, and the coroner and police departments don't clean up the blood, and we had to clean up my sister's murder case basically. And but you know what, it's sadly and weird, in a weird way, people think that is like the most horrific thing that somebody can go through, and yes it is, but in the same sense it makes it even all the more critical for me to be that voice for people, to say there was a lot before Nicole's chapter, before my chapter with Nicole, before her murder, before anything. When I was in high school, I mean, you know my story. I had to bury 6 friends of mine in high school, and then my best friend 2 years after high school, and then my best friend Troy in 2000, and then Nicole. I mean, it was just, we're all pressure cookers. And if we don't know how to release, or if we don't create that comfortable forum for people to go, wow, you know what, I'm gonna snap if I don't talk about my feelings. And so I'm an advocate really on, we need to start feeling our feelings. We need to create a comfortable forum where, you know what, life is not okay all the time, and make people comfortable in addressing that. And I'm very candid. I know people probably right now in my own personal life who could definitely end up on the 5 o'clock news. I do know those people. And the sad thing and the scary thing is that you can't help somebody or their family if nobody wants to seek the help or get the help. And that's the hardest part in the work that I do. And, in our legal system too, where it's like, gosh, here you know somebody who exhibits these behaviors, but at the same time, it's like, there's no evidence. It's like, there's nothing. So, I mean, we really need to work as a society. So to tell you the truth, this book means more to me than the one I'm about to share with you. Yeah. Even though you and I both share personal stories with us.
And, I have read your book a few times, and, we've talked about it before, and we've experienced a lot together, and we'll share on the show tonight, my journey through being a survivor of domestic violence, and how Tanya Brown, barely had known her, new in a country from Canada to America, and she actually helped me get out safe and alive. Makes me emotional when I think about it, because
you're a lucky one, and that's how we have to look at it. So when I speak to you and your viewers, I don't look at how many thousands of people are listening to this. I'm having a conversation with you and with those who, the camera and you. I don't even look beyond of all the thousands of people that may be listening to this. When you lived it, I never lived it to the magnitude that you did. And that's the gift that Nicole has given all of us, to where we can, come together and say, does this constitute domestic violence? If somebody violates your privacy, if somebody assaults you on an emotional level and traumatizes you to the point where your job is compromised, your personal life is compromised, my story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have lost my job because of everything that I was going through over last year. So you never know. It is what it is. We can't go back and we can't change it.
Yeah.
All we can do is educate people. And this is the 7 characters of abuse. The 7 characters of abuse, domestic violence, where it starts and where it can end, is because the reason why I titled it this way is because so many people think that domestic violence starts with a punch.
Yes, and I'm so glad that we talked about, we're diving right into it because this is where it's at, and the thing is that a lot of people think it's just the physical part of abuse, and domestic violence is so many layers and so many levels, and I've experienced it firsthand, you've experienced it firsthand, and so many of you out there. And I think my biggest takeaway from my whole experience and being and being through domestic violence growing up as well, and seeing my mom go through it on numerous times, unfortunately as a child, but the thing is that you don't really know what's happening when you're in it. And so we think we're going crazy, or we think it's our fault, or we think all these different things, and we really don't know how to get through it. And that was what you instilled in me. It's, and I started to begin to understand. I was like, okay, no, this is not right. This behavior, these things I'm being told, and I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm that, and you shouldn't go here, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and being basically held hostage in my own home. And you really shared that with me. So let's go through the layers of domestic violence and what all of them are.
Okay, so first and foremost, I think for all your viewers out there who have young children, young children, being a young girl, remember, oh, he's checking up on me because he must love me, or they're checking up on me because they just want to know where I am, okay? So in today's culture, domestic violence does not equal love. Jealousy is jealousy. Jealousy is checking up on you. Jealousy is not a sign of love. Love is, honey, I'll see you after your dinner. Honey, I'll see you after your TV interview. Honey, I will see you when you get home tonight. Yeah. Okay, that's love. That's like, Traci, I have no jealousy or qualms. I don't have any insecurity with you. I'll see you when you get back home. Yes. But in today's society, the more people are thirsty for that instant gratification, that they're thirsty for, oh my God, I just want to be loved. Oh my gosh, I just want to be liked. And excuse me for touching you. It's just like, we're friends. I know,
and I get it too.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my God, I just want to fit in. And that is not love, especially in our society, in our youth. It's checking up on you. It's making sure wherever you are, making sure of every second of every moment is being accounted for. If even in college campuses, okay, here they are. You have study groups when you're in college, right?
Yeah.
You have college, right? You have study groups in college campuses. So for anybody who is starting a college, a college study group, make sure that who you are with is a good fit. But even more so, do not give permission for somebody on the outside to say, this part is better for you. You know what is the best for you. You know what's the best for your career. Yeah. You know what's best for the progress of your professional career. You know, only you know. Yeah. And so today we were talking about boundaries on a Facebook Live, and how many of you have ever actually did a boundary inventory, a relationship inventory?
I love that, because that is one of my, characteristics that I've been working on continuously for many, many years, setting healthy boundaries. And, it's that backlash of when you don't set that healthy boundary and you know better and you know what you need to do, but you're just, sometimes we're not in that emotional or that state where we're strong enough to actually do it. And it's too bad, but we learn and we grow and we move through it.
Right.
So doing a boundary, I love this. So tell us how we do this.
Okay, so how old are you?
I can't tell you. I'd have to kill you. How about we just go with
Okay, well, I'm 48.
30-ish?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
48.
30-ish.
So there was this woman, and you probably, hopefully you know her, Barbara DeAngelis. And Barbara DeAngelis wrote a beautiful book one time, and inside of one of her books, she's written like 30, 40 books. Inside one of those books was a relationship inventory. And to this day, I've kind of, I've kind of recreated it to my program, but all across board it makes sense. So Barbara calls it like this: get a piece of big white piece of paper. Okay. Draw a line down the middle and across. What am I willing to accept and tolerate? What am I not willing to accept and tolerate? We always say in our head that, oh, I don't like that guy. Oh, I don't like that girl. I don't like that quality. I don't like that. It's like we can get stuck in our head, but there's something more powerful when we put pen to paper, thoughts to pen to paper, where life really comes to fruition. It gets real at that point. So, as advocates, not just for women, not just for young girls, but for young boys and men, married couples, whatever. It's like you've really got to understand, like, what are you willing to accept and tolerate? It's like, okay, I can accept that you're a workout freak, right?
And not everybody can, so thank you.
I may not tolerate it, but I accept it.
And I thank you so much for that. You're the only one that does, Can I just get a man to accept it now?
No, you're awesome. You're awesome. But it's like, whatever.
I'm married to the gym.
I know, it's awesome. It's good. At least you're married, right? At least you're married. It's a healthy marriage. But really, it's like you got to find out, for everybody who's listening right now, it's like you got to figure out and really get in tune. What are you willing to accept and tolerate in every relation of your life? Whether it's your partner, your friends, your family, your profession, whatever that is. Because without you putting that thought to pen to paper, it just becomes kind of like okay, I'll get to it later.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we don't take it serious enough. And I want to share with you too, because
in front of you.
Yeah, because then it's reality and you can't deny it, and you have to look at it, take a hard look at it. I actually have lost, I'm going to actually change the verbiage on that, because I've spoken to a few people that are very wise and, great advice, and it's not lost. I've actually gone through and evolved through a lot of friendships and a lot of relationships and business relationships as well over the last year. And it's quite an enormous list. But I got to the point where I understood, I started setting these boundaries and saying, this is not okay. I'm not going to accept this. I'm not willing to accept this behavior from a friend or tolerate this or that. And I started to really, find me. And along the way, and even though you may feel lonely or you feel like you don't have a lot of friends or things like that, I am at the point where I'm very proud, because I've stood up for myself, and and it was painful, and it felt like a loss, because it was a grieving process through it, losing friendships and business relationships.
Agreed.
And and you also then you have the fear that sets in, false evidence appearing real, and you think, oh, I'm not going to make enough money, or I'm not going to have another friend, or whatever you want to tell yourself. But at the end of the day, when we look at it that way, it's now I'm beginning to understand that I'm evolving and really growing as a human being, and that feels really good. And those healthy boundaries are being really met by myself, and the standards that
You've come a long way. I mean, I've known you from like I don't know day one from.
It's in America, yeah.
Yeah.
4.5 years.
Yes. I mean, you've really come a long way in just seeing your transition, sadly, it's like, we are friends. You can lean on me when stuff goes down. Traci, you can call on me. But seeing the transition that you've been under, it's like, oh my gosh, like you've evolved into this magnificent human being. And you've just said that basically when you get stronger, people around you may not like it.
Yes.
Because they're used to the old you. They're used to the old Traci. As my mom said to me when I was going through, I attempted a suicide in 2004, as you know, and it's mentioned in my book. I had to go through my inpatient program and through my outpatient program. And my mom, still to this day, it resonates with me. She goes, I think these classes are ruining you.
Wow.
I go, well, I never called them a group because group is like hospital, it's patient, right? With patient setting. With me, I'm like, okay, class, it's, right? So that was the language around our home. And my mom was always saying, God, I think these classes are ruining you. And I go, Mom, these classes are not ruining me. They're making me. They're making who I am. I'm learning how to speak for myself. I'm learning how to think for myself. I'm learning how to eliminate the codependency. I'm learning how to eliminate negativity, how to reframe my thinking. So, I think as all your viewers are, all your listeners right now, it's like we together, we've gone through a lot. And we are a testament to, if you stay true, more so you have really I'm in integrity when it comes to speaking and stuff like that. But when it comes to your health and wellness, I'm in awe of your, I'm like, okay, I got to Google Traci.
I appreciate it. You look magnificent, and you always look better and better every time I see you. And I know we're always so hard on ourselves.
Women are fine wine. We're like fine wine.
Yes, we are. We're like a nice bouquet of Merlot and a medley of reds.
Exactly. But I'm really, really proud of you, and I'm blessed to know you. But I think the language that women and kids speak to themselves today, that's why we're seeing a lot of the things that we see today. Yeah. A lot of the bullying, the depression, the suicide. I'll tell you, Traci, a day doesn't go by that I don't hear about a suicide or a fatal overdose. And it's simply because the kids today, no matter what age, even adults, they don't feel that they matter.
Yeah. And I see that too. I lost a beautiful human being, a beautiful friend, Karen, last year at the end of the year. And, it's funny because I was thinking about her I think about her a lot, but I was thinking I took her on her first hike. We went to Cowles Mountain, and we got to the top of the mountain, and we prayed, and we held hands, and we just really embraced each other as friends and women. And, there was this words unspoken through our eyes and just holding hands. And I really appreciated her as a friend. And it was almost like, I look at it now and I feel as if she was this angel that came into my life for a very short period of time. But, to just really teach me about myself. And when we lost her to suicide, it was one of those things where I didn't see it coming. I didn't know. And it's just, you can't beat yourself up for it. And it's like one of those things. And, I want to tie it back into talking to you about your sister, in that time, in 1994, when all these things were happening, and over the course of the period of time where Nicole was going through, these instances with OJ, did the family know? Did you guys see what was happening with the domestic violence and the abuse that was going on there?
I think, I was so young, but from what I remember, I was 24 when I was going through the trials. So Denise, I believe, testified, from what I remember, testified on, certain things where I think she even said that she took Nicole out of the house, I think maybe 3 times or something like that, and put her in a hotel room, and Nicole left in the middle of the night. So, this is the thing. It's like #no judgment. It's, you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know where to go, then who am I to judge you? Right. Denise didn't know. She just thought, hey, taking my sister out of a out of a crazy house, maybe not violent or whatever we constitute violent today.
Yes.
You know, you got to think about this is like 25, 30 years ago where, you know, we're just now talking about violence.
Yes.
And so Denise had witnessed things that, you know, again, I was too young to even remember. I don't even think I even heard her entire testimony, but I do remember her saying that I took her out of the house like 3 times, and Nicole chose to go back.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this is the hardest thing, you know, as you in your health and your fitness and your wellness, as far as me with my, you know, the counseling and the coaching, the hardest thing for us to do is to see the end result, and the person's not ready to see that yet. It's so hard for us to entice or to encourage people like, hey, you can do the work because I know what's lying for you. Yeah. But you can't make people be ready when they're not ready. And, you know, in hindsight now, with the information that I have, I believe Nicole wasn't ready. And, you know, like majority of women, like majority of you know, women and their children, it's majority of them are not ready, and they go back 8 to 11 times before they until they make that commitment. I am done. And until then, no judgment. Hashtag no judgment, because, and this is rule like number 1. If you have a friend right now who's going through this, maybe it's you, maybe it's a loved one, whomever, do not talk bad about the perpetrator, whatever you do. Yeah. Because no matter what, especially if there are children, do not talk bad about your perpetrator, because at the end of the day, blood's thicker than water. Yes. Mom is mom, dad is dad. And you don't want anybody that's close to you to feel that they are, you know, that they're being pinned against one another. And it's just educating yourself. You know, domestic violence, I mean, we can go on for a whole weekend summit on this. The dynamics are crazy. But to all the women and the children that we're speaking to who've experienced your situation, as well as my sister's situation, just know that you're not alone. Yeah. There's help. And now is the time, because Nicole wasn't lucky, and that can be you. Yes.
And I just, you know, had this overwhelming sensation of, you know, like pins and needles, and actually the light is flickering in the kitchen, and it's just, you know, I know Nicole's with us and here, and I just feel her, and you know, I remember talking to you on the phone. And it was at the end of my rope. It was at the end of what I was going through in my marriage. I was new in a new country, and I didn't have a plan B. I was married to an abuser, and on all levels. I mean, and it wasn't the physical until the very end, but the problem is that I was so beaten down that I had no understanding of where I was at. I remember sitting on the bedroom floor, locking the door, and he came home from work early to check up on me, as he normally would, and you and I were on the phone.
Check up on you?
Yes, to check up on me. Yeah, to make sure I was okay. At home. Yeah, under lock and key. And the thing was, I remember you telling me not to get out unless it was safe, and there was like 2 things that crossed my mind. I thought, I'm not going to get out of this alive, or I'm going to kill myself. There was 2 choices I was going to make, and those were the only things that flooded through my mind. I remember sitting on the floor going, okay, if I just go into the kitchen, maybe I can grab some alcohol, I can take some pills, and I can just end this, because then it just will be easier. This is the easy way out. Easy. Easier than what I thought was coming. And, the thing is that you gave me hope. You just said, make sure that he doesn't know your exit plan. And I remember that to this day. And it was like, okay, so what does this mean? And then you broke it down for me. Yeah. Let's talk about that. So there's, women, and this does happen to men as well. I would like to acknowledge that. So, so let's talk about exit strategies for women. That's a safe plan, or men as well that are going through this.
Okay, so I hate to talk about exit plans on live because I believe that the second you call a shelter or the police station, my advice is ask for the safety plan. Because I believe that if we talk about it online and in live, then you never know who's listening.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And it's different for everyone's situation.
It's different for everybody. So not this Super Bowl. I think it was like in 2000. I don't know. It was a couple of years ago, maybe like 3 years ago. It was probably the worst Super Bowl PSA I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It was about a woman who was calling up for a pizza, and I don't know, it was like she was calling 911, and it was just a really, I may be ruffling some feathers here, but really, I mean, that PSA really, really bothered me, because now you are giving permission for every perpetrator, male or female, to know the hidden secrets of every little phone call, of every little strategy that goes on in order for a woman to escape, because that's really what we need to do. We need to escape these situations. You're just not leaving a violent, abusive relationship. The mindset that I want to give to people is that you are dealing with a potential murder case.
Yes.
That's really what it is. It's a potential murder case. And when I saw that PSA, I was like, you just announced to the entire world during the most viewed program in the world on how to escape by ordering a pizza. To me, that was like, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll be ruffling some feathers, but that's okay.
I'm with you on that. Absolutely. Ruffle away.
Yeah, do not let them know what that safety strategy is, because really at the end of the day, like you said, it's different for everyone. You know, you live in LA. I live in Dana Point. Other people live in Arrowhead. Somebody lives in San Diego. Exit strategies, they're all different. However, there is a common strategy. But if you're listening to this and you're going through something right now, my God, feel free to reach out to me or Tracy or your local shelter. 800-799-SAFE. 800-799-SAFE. It's an anonymous phone number for domestic violence. It's translated, I think, into 140 something different languages, totally anonymous. So if you are in a situation right now, there should be no reason for you to not reach out. The only thing is that, and I don't want to demean that question, I just want everybody to be safe. Yes. Because I really believe us saying, hey, this is the safety plan. You know what? Watch Sleeping with the Enemy then.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point, because I am definitely not an expert in that, in my situation, and, everybody else's situation is so different, as we said. So the thing is, I believe that getting it out in the open is such a big thing, and, because keeping it a secret, it wasn't until my girlfriend, Christine Horton, my best friend from Canada, came, and she actually stayed with us, and she was like, what is going on here? And she just to the level, there was one instance, and we still talk about it to this day, because it's pretty fresh, and it was even at the supermarket, I was not allowed to get a 10-cent bag. I would have to juggle and carry as many things as I could in my arm, because that wasn't okay. And it was just the little things, but there were so many of them, and it's just portioning. I was allowed to only eat a certain amount, and it would have to be, given to me, and everything was all orderly and structured. And
you're a slave.
Yes,
you're really a slave. And it may seem totally absurd to the people who are watching. Yes, but unless you've gone through it, you have, or it's I've gone through my own stuff. You've definitely, but it's I learn and get encouraged and inspired, sadly, and I'm sorry, but it's I want people to share these stories with me, so then when I speak out, so when Denise speaks out, so as advocates, my friends, my colleagues, we have arsenal behind us to say, hey, you know what, that's not right, because my friend over here went through this. So it's but people who may be viewing this may say to themselves, Are you
That's
kidding me?
crazy.
It's just a bag, really? 10
Yeah.
cents? It's like you have no idea unless you've lived it.
Yeah.
You have no clue. So
Yeah.
really it's like hashtag no judgment.
Yeah.
And maybe that needs to be like our little
Absolutely.
slogan.
And again, yeah, you're so right,
You don't
because
know.
you know, and you guys, and I only share these things candidly with you because I was, you know, fortunate enough to overcome and get through this. And the reason why I am an ambassador and an advocate to help other women is because I have been through it, I have survived, and I've had people like Tanya Brown, you know, by my side no matter what. You know, the women from different women's shelters, and you know, following up with me just to making sure I'm okay. And I was nobody to them, and they took me in as family and just loved me. And you know, now I'm able to give back. I'm going to women's shelters, praying with women, speaking, and they look at me and they go, there's no way you went through that. And it's just like, you know, because we don't know what we don't know, like you said,
Right.
and we look all put together, but we
We're a hot mess.
we don't know everyone's story, and that's the thing.
Everybody has a story.
We do.
And you know what? I think showing up as us,
Yeah.
you know, even though we've got our own, you know, excuse me, even though we've you know, every day brings something different, you know, I mean, we're Traci and Tanya, so there's always something going on. Well, maybe not you, but I come from the Brown house, so there's always something going on.
Yeah.
But I think just showing up to the world and saying, hey, you know what? I may not get exactly what you're going through, but on some level I understand, and on some level I know what you're going through. I may not know exactly what you're going through,
Yeah.
but on some level I do.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that's why God kind of challenged us on so many levels, whether it's, you know, your victimization, you know, our victimization, my own personal suicide attempt, whatever that is. I firmly believe things happen to us. So then when we are faced with adversity or we have an opportunity to share with people that we have an opportunity to reach,
Yeah.
then people will gravitate to that. Because I like what you said. Really? You went through that? It's like, oh, you have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
I know, and I would be reading this, and it's like the things, because, you know, we met James Melanchak, shout out to James Melanchak. We met at his
Speakers Boot
Big
Camp.
Money Speaker Boot Camp, and you were there, and I was with my ex-husband at the time,
Yes.
and you, Tanya.
Oh, he was charming.
Oh, yeah.
He was charming. He was sweet. He was gregarious.
But you knew. You knew, though. You looked at me, and I didn't know you, and you pulled me over, and then I wanted to get your book signed by you, and he wouldn't allow me to stand in the line, and you saw this happening from behind.
Dynamic.
Yes.
When you are educated in anything, whether it's domestic violence, suicide prevention, depression, whatever it is, whatever it is that you follow, when you start studying it and when you've lived it and then you incorporate both of those, you can smell it.
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store, I go to the bank, I'm involved with my friends, I'll be at you know, a lunch or a dinner, and I mean, I was just like, you smell it, you begin to sense it, and it becomes part of you. And well, amen. I'm glad that you paid attention to that. I'm glad I did. I think maybe it's just, you know, thank you for remembering that. I think it's just because it becomes your essence. It becomes who you are. It becomes part of your life. And then through nonverbals
Yes.
and support,
Yeah.
things just, and you sense that. And I didn't even
Yeah. No, you gave me, we connected eyes, and you said, I see you. You didn't say it, but you said it with your eyes. And I looked at you, and my eyes welted up with tears. And I said, you know what? I'm going to that table. I don't care what he says. I'm going. And you went, good. And you called me over through the lineup.
that. I
And
remember
I didn't, and I was like, okay. And it was like, I'm coming. Like, I was just so overjoyous to meet you, first of all, and just be in your presence, and then, you know, get your book. And then it was like, and then you understood me. It was like, somebody sees me, somebody sees my pain. And you recognized it without even knowing me or anything.
not even knowing your name. But I think that's why so many people experience hardships now, Traci, is that nobody feels like they matter. Nobody feels like they matter. It's people feel like they wake up. It's the doldrum of every day. They wake up, they go to school, go to work, they come home, whatever. It's like live out every, what we're supposed to do, right?
Yes.
Just the nature of the game. But I think now we are at a crossroads where it is critical that we start paying attention to people and not maybe we don't have a half hour, maybe we don't have an hour to do an interview or whatever. I mean, look how long it's taken us for us to do
a couple
this, but
years.
it's my fault. It's like I was
But it's worth it, and today's the day.
Yay.
This is the day it was supposed to happen.
It's like it's all good. It's like dad got sick, dad died, we're at peace, mom moved, whatever. It's all good. But life transitions.
Yes.
But I think we really are at a crossroads in the world where people need to know that they matter. Because I firmly believe those who are bullied feel like they don't matter.
Yes.
Those who bully feel like they don't matter. Those who commit the violent crimes that we see really come from a place of, I don't matter. Okay, so I firmly believe we really are at a real heavy crossroad right now. And as a society, I think it's really time for us to really embrace one another, give each other a hug. Okay, I don't care if they look weird. I don't care if they're homeless. Touch them on the shoulder, give them a hug, give them a quarter, give them $1, whatever. It's up to them to do what they want to do with it. But even just give them an eye contact.
Give them love and that human connection.
Acknowledgement.
Yes.
Acknowledgement. I think I firmly believe when we can start doing that, because that's really uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Yes.
But if we can really embrace the fact that who you are makes a difference, then we're shifting the world. And my friend Sparky, she started blueribbons.org. And she actually created a blue ribbon that says, who I am makes a difference. And a homeless guy came up to me a couple of years ago, asking me for money. And I'm like, I'm like Nicole, I never have cash on me. Nicole never had cash on her. I said, I don't have any cash. I said, but I have this little blue ribbon that says, who I am makes a difference. I said, may I give this to you? And I gave him the ribbon. And I'm at, I was crossing the street. I get this tap on my shoulder again. And he said, with the tear in his eye, I saw it, he said, that's the nicest thing anybody has ever done for me. Acknowledgement. If we can just start acknowledging people, hi, you're from Canada, okay?
You're gonna make me cry. Sorry, I love hearing stuff like that.
No, it's beautiful because we don't see that here in America. We really don't. In Canada, in the Midwest, ever so often, but here in especially Southern Orange County, you say hi to somebody, it's like, what do you want?
I know, people are like, who are you? What's wrong with you? And do I know you? And I'm